Hi, English 111. I wanted to spend just a little bit of time doing a bit of a walkthrough as far as doing some research for this argument essay. So we've talked about research quite a bit when we were in class together and then towards the beginning of this online version of class. And then in your cause and effect essay, you were using research as well. And I want to just keep moving you forward and being really comfortable searching for sources, finding good chunks of information out of those sources that you can then put into your essays. So here I am on the My SCC page. I just logged in. So click library, wait for it to load. And then I'm just going to use the one search box to start with. And I'm going to use some of the ideas that were in the reading that you did for last week that you turned in your reading notes on. So that reading was a chapter from a book, and it's actually a really good example of an argument. So that author, Gretchen McCulloch, is making an argument. She's saying that emoji are this necessary part of our text language. So that's a good thesis because it needs to be proven, right? That's not something that everybody's just automatically going to agree with. So that makes it a really good thesis. That makes it a very good thesis for an argument. So I'm going to use some of those ideas. So to start, I'm going to start really broad, and I'm just going to search for emoji. See what happens. So once I get my search results, I want to make sure that I use my limiters over here to limit to full text. I want to be able to see the whole text of the article. And then I also want to limit to scholarly journals. So then once I get results from this, I can feel pretty confident that what I'm looking at is academic in nature and scholarly, which just sort of gazing at it just to start, they are. So this is from a Canadian journal. This is from a psychological journal, current research, emotional content of pleasant and unpleasant face emoji. Well, now that's interesting. So as I do a little bit of just brief reading of some of these, emoji rhetoric. Rhetoric is just communication. A strong wink between verbal and emoji-based irony. How the brain processes ironic emojis. So irony, especially in text and using emojis, is probably part of humor. Reliance on emoji may push us back towards cave drawings. That's an interesting statement. So if I'm going to build an essay kind of based on the ideas or some of the thoughts from that reading, looking at just some of the sources before I've even thought about a thesis, I'm getting some pretty good ideas, right? So I want you to use the readings that we've done and the things that you've written notes on. Those are meant to encourage and to help broaden topic choice for these essays. So everything you've read to take notes on is about language, just like all of your essays are about language. So I'm going to open this one about cave drawings because I find that interesting. It seems to be an interesting thesis that this article has come up with. So we'll see about access to this article and what it's going to look like. So it's in a ProQuest database. That's the name of the database. This is the title of the article. Here's the author, the journal title, all my publication information, and there's that DOI. That goes on that works cited page as well. So because I have access to a PDF, I'm always going to choose that because it gives me page numbers. So if I were to quote from a particular part of this essay, I can use page numbers. So there are some really interesting ideas for a fantastic essay on this. So say I'm writing about the fact that emoji, maybe my argument is that emoji can hinder communication if we rely on them too much. Right? So maybe I take an opposite stance. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. I'm doing literally what you would be doing. So what does this have to say? So it says linguists point to cave drawings when discussing evolution of language. As we began to interpret the world through drawing, a new way of thinking emerged, and we started to record our thoughts and experiences in the external world. I could use that. That's an interesting idea that I could use for background, perhaps, in my argument about using drawing to mean something. Today, communication is so complex that essential terms like meaning and truth are difficult. We can express thoughts with almost incomprehensible degrees of nuance. This is obvious in spoken language, and it's true in writing. Our greatest power is the ability to express complex thoughts clearly. So there we go, getting kind of honed in on spoken language and written language. And then it seems this author does an interesting thing over here, that emoji may push us back towards cave drawings. Why do we not instead focus on training people to speak and write well? Words, not pictures, are our best tools of conveying meaning. So it looks like this author is making the argument that we're relying on these symbols too much. So this would be an interesting, I could use several of these sentences actually. Maybe quote it, some of these really good ideas like that sentence right there just this chunk of this sentence, not even the whole sentence. Words, not pictures, are our best tools of conveying intended meaning. Okay, so if I wrote an argument essay saying that emoji are great, but we rely on them too much, ta-da, there's a fantastic quote that could show up in the body of my paragraph somewhere where I am going point by point and supporting my argument. One of the things I want to point out is in this ProQuest database, so if you ever open up an article in the ProQuest database, you of course have the cite button to help you get this onto your works cited page. Just a reminder, when you click it, it automatically opens in APA. We are not using APA, we are using MLA, so you have to find it and then it will change it. Use the most recent, so 8th edition. There we go. Now I can copy and paste that and pop it into my works cited page. So remember that, just keep that in mind. But the other thing to pay attention to is that ProQuest will list other sources along this right-hand side that are somehow related. And this can be a fantastic way to do your research, because if you find one thing that is interesting, you find this one article that you might use, then I pop over here and go, wow, okay, well this is interesting. Mood, emotion, and emoji. Emojis as tools for emotion. The sentiment or feeling of emojis. So I've got all kinds of things over here now about emotion. Maybe I choose one of those. So as you're doing your research, play with what's on the screen, right? Be really open to what is being offered to you there. If I want to go a little further, maybe I narrow my search a little bit to, oh, look, it's offering me some suggestions. Not to emoji. Maybe that would fit with my thesis that I think I might be writing about. So let's search that. It was offered, so why not give it a try, see what's in there. So the more comfortable you become on this screen and able to kind of move in and out of these various sources, the better researcher you become, because you don't get so tied to finding one specific kind of source. You kind of let yourself fluctuate and be kind of free-flowing. Emoji in sexual contexts, we all know that different emoji get used for all kinds of reasons. Reflex modulation, the affective or emotion face emojis. There's that emoji rhetoric article again. There's that irony one again. So some of these might be some of the same sources. That's okay. I'm just going to go play with my search terms, see what happens. Let's do emoji and communication. So when we're playing around with finding sources, notice I haven't saved anything yet. I haven't committed to anything yet. I haven't even really committed to my thesis statement yet. This is all before I actually start writing. So I call this stage pre-search because it's research before you actually do any kind of writing. So here's an interesting article arguing that emoji is kind of necessary, what words can't say. Emoji and communication. Worth 1,000 words, emoji as signals for relationship communication. That's interesting. Maybe emojis and relationships? That's an interesting one because we've seen a lot about emotion. We've seen a lot about even sexual relationships, sexual meaning to emojis. Who knows? I don't know. We could play with all kinds of these things. So that's just one way that I can start building on an idea that I thought was interesting. So if something has kind of occurred to you over the course of the semester, in all of our discussions about language or in all of our readings about language, seize on that. Think about what was interesting. Think about what we talked about or what you've read that kind of made you go, that's interesting. And start there. Just throw some search terms into the box, see what happens. Let yourself just be sort of free-ranging. Go play around and see what's in there after you've limited it to the scholarly journals. And you're well on your way to creating a really good essay. And you're using your research to help determine a topic, and then you've got your research ready. So the two kind of play back and forth. So as you're brainstorming, do a little bit of research and see what's out there. It can actually help you brainstorm better. So I will leave you with that. Good luck, and I get moving. I want to encourage you to be moving on your argument essay, at least doing this kind of step, determining a topic and finding some research for it, even if you haven't written it yet. So yeah, just give yourself a chance to get moving on that. This week is dedicated totally to getting your research moving. I've provided a handout in Moodle under this week just to help you kind of organize your thoughts. It's nothing you have to turn in. It's totally just a tool for you to use. So use the tools available to you, right? Use these databases. Play around. See what's out there. Throw a topic in there that you thought was interesting and see what happens. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me and let me know. All right, happy researching and happy writing.